offer ever. Switch to T-Mobile. Get a new iPhone 16 Pro with Apple Intelligence on us. No trade-in needed. We'll even pay off your phone up to $800.
With 24 monthly bill credits, new line $100 plus a month on experience beyond finance agreement $999.99 and qualifying for it. For well qualified plus tax and $10 connection charge. Payoff via virtual prepaid card allow 15 days. Credits end and balance due if you pay off early or cancel. See T-Mobile.com.
Hey there. You hear that? Right. You don't. That's what it's like to order food for your workplace with EasyCater. No hold music while you wait to place your order. No tapping as you type in special dietary instructions or long, complicated searches for options in your budget. No crinkling of paper receipts. Just...
Dang, these are some tasty sandwiches.
EasyCater, the better way to order food for work. Order now at easycater.com.
Get the Apple Leasing Advantage today. Visit appleleasing.com. That's appleleasing.com.
We all remember that one teacher who made a difference, who believed in us, challenged us, made learning fun. Now's your chance to say thank you in a big way. iHeartRadio's Thank a Teacher, powered by Donors Choose, celebrating the incredible impact of public school educators. Nominate an outstanding teacher in your life who's gone above and beyond for their students to be among the winners of $5,000 to stock their classroom. Help us say thank you to the educators shaping our future. Get all the info and nominate a teacher who goes the extra mile today at iHeartRadio.com/teachers.
Find your iHeartRadio everywhere. There are hundreds of ways to experience iHeartRadio at home and on the go, beyond the iPhone and Android app and at iHeartRadio.com. Here's another way to connect to iHeartRadio. Apple CarPlay. Our iOS app comes alive in your car's dashboard with a seamless way to play your favorite music, radio stations, and podcasts. Developed with driver safety in mind, the Apple CarPlay interface was built for simple navigation and to limit driver distraction while making sure you can still access all your favorite content from iHeartRadio. No need to download another app. Just plug or pair your iPhone with your dash, and if CarPlay is available in your vehicle, iHeartRadio will sync automatically. iHeartRadio, everywhere you want to listen, including in your car through Apple CarPlay. Check it out for free now. iHeartRadio, anywhere you want to listen, iHeartRadio is there.
From the Audio-Visual Consultation Studios, Sports Radio 1300 The Zone, KDET AM Austin, your home for the Horn, and the #1 preset in your car and on the free iHeartRadio app. Morning Kickoff with Mike Hardball Hardge and the world's strongest man, WWE Hall of Famer, Mark Henry, on your home for the Horns, 1300 The Zone.
Good morning, Austin, K-Town, Pflugerville, H-Town, Pearland, El Paso, San Antonio, and Silsbee, Texas. This morning, we have our special guest taking in the place of Mike Hardge, Mr. Eric Henry from Horns 247. Good morning, Kim Folk.
But the Henry man, Hardge back in the day, Mark, I think you know this. Remember how Hardge used to have that little Jerry curl looking like Slim from the Woods?
Yes. Yes, he did. Hey, we got to get a picture that we can post.
Picture that up, right?
Yeah, I'm dead serious, man. Like this is awesome, man, to be able to, for me and you, the law office, Henry and Associates. To be on today, man. Hopefully Hardge is listening and realize that we wish him a great vacation. It's much needed. You know, we're in a business where once we get rolling, the season is not going to end until the national championship in December. So to be able to roll from now to December straight on, you need to get a little rest and relaxation, if you will.
Well, Mark, I laugh a little bit when you say December because, man, listen, the way college football season is now, that's just the SEC title game.
Right, that's where I'm thinking. I'm thinking if we can get through the title game, then I'm good.
Then you're good.
Now, national championship, that's lightning striking twice in the same place. But, you know, to all the regular listeners, the live is up. We are ready. We are out there. If you did not download the free iHeart app, please do so right now and lock us in the morning kickoff and your presets
No doubt about it. So one of the biggest things I know, first off, shout out to Corey Mose at KVU for pinch hitting while you were out, Mark, last week. So appreciate him pinch hitting Friday. Shout out to Corey. One of the things we got into that I definitely want to run back this week with you back in the building is, what are you most excited for? We've made it. We've made it through the offseason on this Texas Longhorn Monday, and the Horns going to hit the practice field this week. Mark, what are you most excited for?
Man, the thing that I'm the most excited about is what everybody's been talking about. Everybody, it's like if you don't start with Arch Manning, then something is wrong with you. You've been under a rock somewhere. I want to see Arch command the offense. I want to see him break the huddle. I want to see what that looks like as the guy. I want to see Arch, his communication with Coach Sarkisian, because people underestimate how I wouldn't say that he was more on the docile side, but Quinn Ewers, he would run to Coach Sark and he would listen. And you got to listen. But he also would communicate, and you could see him talking to Coach Sark, but he did like a little, more subtle communication. Sure. When Arch was in the game, when Arch came to the sideline, he kind of walked like Peyton. He had that swagger to him as he came off the field, and he's pointing. And maybe that's a young guy thing, or maybe that's just his personality. But whatever it is, watching the two quarterbacks and how they communicate with the coach is important to me.
Yeah, it's interesting you talked about his personality, right? Because having covered Quinn for 3 years, that's the thing that I always took away from Quinn is his personality is that. I don't want to say reserved, but Quinn's a little shy, right? And I'm not saying shy with his teammates, but he's never going to be that Peyton Manning, like you said. When you saw Peyton Manning with the Colts, he was a coach. I need my guy here. I need this here. Yep. Coming off the field, very demonstrative. That could be something that Arch, having grown up in a football family, a quarterback family, you may see more of that. So that certainly is something interesting, Mark.
That's a good point. I didn't even think about it like that. I didn't think, okay, maybe he's reliving what he saw as a young guy, seeing his uncles communicate using their hands and telling people what to do. And, sometimes that could easily be it could be a farce. You could be doing that just to trick people into thinking, no, hot. Like Peyton was a genius with the Omaha.
Well, for one, we know darn well as a kid he was out there pretending that he was his uncles out there pointing.
He was
calling audibles.
And all the kids in the neighborhood hated him. They were like, "Arch, just throw the ball. I'm running out."
Man, you the all-time quarterback. Come on now.
Listen, that's a term that a lot of people don't know. Like when you had to play quarterback for both teams, like how do you get joy out of winning if you have to play quarterback for both? But I remember if you was the all-time quarterback, that was the greatest position that you could have in the park, in the sandlot. Like that was a great thing. But yeah, man, those are the ones that Arch is my number one. But I also want to see this running back room come back to the level that it was before Baxter got hurt.
And I can say this, right? And piggybacking off you and talking about this running back room, I think, and I don't know how you guys feel about it, but my thing has always been this since I've been covering Texas football. Defense is going to hit the ground running quicker than offense, right? That's just a byproduct, especially when you have so many moving parts. 4 new offensive linemen, right? Bring it in. You're trying to get the pass pro down. You're trying to get the run blocking down. Starters. They're not new to the program. And if Steve Sarkisian heard me say that, he would quickly say that they're not young, they're inexperienced, but they're not young, right? But to that point, right, I am super interested to see the things that a young quarterback can lean on. Run game, tight end with Jack Endries, right? That's a name that I think all Texas fans should know.
You need to know him.
Need to know him. I firmly believe he's going to be first team all conference come the end of the year. But for me personally, Mark, it's this defense, man. Because I think this defense is going to be the tops in the nation. When you have an All-American at every level, Colin Simmons on the first level, Anthony Hill on the second level, Michael Taff on the back end, I think if they hit the ground running come August 30, they can take Texas into Ohio State and leave with a victory. So that's what I'm looking forward to see in this first week.
Yeah, I mean, the defense is definitely, my third thing that they're a given to me.
Sure.
I feel like this defense has the potential to be what Georgia was 2 years ago and what Texas was last year. I mean, they can be as good or better.
No, there's no doubt about that. And here's the thing that I think a lot of people, when you talk about this defense, it kind of goes underreported just a little bit, right? Is this: you have players such as Colin Simmons, such as Leonga Lafau, such as Warren Roberson, Malik Muhammad. The list goes on. Kobe Black. These are all guys that are just scratching the surface of their potential, right? And we saw how well the defense fared last year. And something that I think is interesting, this will be a little teaser, we'll get to a little bit later in the show, Mark, is how the culture of Texas football, specifically on the defensive end, it's permeating down. All the young guys are starting to see, man, that worked for Jahdae Barron. That worked for Michael Taft. That worked for Jalen Ford. Let me just do it this way, right? That, to me, again, I just think is huge in developing the culture and the identity of this year's Texas football team.
And also, to add to that, the defense was great last year, but Jelani McDonald was injured. Now you're going to have him come back into
Derek Williams.
Derek Williams was injured, and he's going to come back in, and you add that to Jelani McDonald, and you have two guys that can spell Michael Taft if he decides to have to play more of the outside guy, the jack, the star role. Like, you can move and mix that team around. That defense could be really scary, really fast.
And we haven't even gotten to some of the big boys up front, right? I know, Mark, you want to talk about the big boys.
I'm a sizes.
On both sides of the ball. Defensive tackle. This is the thing that I'm really interested in seeing, Mark, is you bring in 5 transfers, right? You bring back Alex January, a legacy kid. But the thing, and we were listening to some sound before the show started, Travis Shaw, Cole Brevard, guys who are north of 300 pounds. Are they going to play 40, 50 snaps a game? Or are they best suited to play 25 to 30 snaps a game, especially when you're talking about guys like Brevard and Shaw and others, even Murad Watson, the freshman All-American from Syracuse. Mark, they didn't play the amount of snaps that Alfred Collins, Vernon Broughton, Tavondre Sweat, Byron Murphy played the last 2 years, right? So if you got to go the long haul.
Well, that's why you have next week. That's why next week is going to be the first 2 weeks of training camp. They're going to get so many reps,
right,
that you'll know who has the endurance. You'll know who, maybe I should play him more goal line. Maybe I should play this guy in this situation. They've already kind of got a bead on it now because of spring and this summer football. But I really do feel like Coach Sark is a great evaluator of time and what his players have been able to do. He's proved it over the last 3 years.
I think he's proved it over the last 3 years. And Kenny Baker, he has not gotten enough love, right? Remember when Bo Davis left?
Everybody thought it was over.
Everybody thought it was over. The conversation was, what are you going to do without Bo Davis? Kenny Baker comes in, previously Western Kentucky, 1 year as a lower-level assistant with the Miami Dolphins, and he's proven his worth, no doubt about that, Mark. So that's the first segment of the morning kickoff. We'll be back, AM 1300, The Zone. Mark Henry, Eric Henry, the Henry men in the building. Mike Hardge, well-deserved vacation. We'll be back.
Coach Sark here. Stay connected to the Longhorns on the free iHeartRadio app.
Breaks a tackle 30, turns down the sidelines. Say goodnight to this one. Touchdown, Texas.
Just search 1300 The Zone. Hook 'em.
The JB and Sandy Show podcast. Stream it on the iHeartRadio app.
The left lane's blocked off by a crash on Highway 71 westbound at Riverside Drive, causing a 5-minute backup from Thornberry, but should be gone pretty soon. All lanes are closed down due to a crash on Ed Bluestein Boulevard northbound at Technique Center Drive, and we're pretty slow on I-35 northbound from Onion Creek Parkway up to William Cannon. I'm Jason Fossig with a look at Austin area traffic.
This report is sponsored by Rapid Radios.
Rapid Radios are instant push-to-talk walkie-talkies offering national LTE coverage and no subscription ever. Business owners can now keep in touch with up to 200 staff members at one time. Go to rapidradios.com now for up to 60% off and free shipping.
Looking for top quality permanent fencing for your home or business? Look no further than Viking Fence. With over 50 years of experience in Central Texas, Viking Fence delivers craftsmanship you can trust. Whether you need wood, iron, or a custom solution, Viking has the perfect fence to fit your needs. What sets Viking Fence apart? They source the finest quality Western red cedar lumber direct from the mill, the most durable and attractive fence material available. Plus, they offer 3 grades of fence pickets to meet every budget. So whether you want Viking to install your fence or you're taking on the project yourself, call Viking Fence today. They pride themselves on excellent work, outstanding service, and an honest reputation. Call 512-601-8911 for a free estimate. That's 512-601-8911. Or visit VikingFence.com/radio. That's VikingFence.com/radio for your free estimate today. When you think fence, think Viking.
Hey there, local business owner. Ready to make some more money? Whether you own an auto shop or a dinner spot, Valpak Direct Marketing can help you do just that. All bells and whistles are included. So you advertise when and where it counts to reach new customers that spend more. Measurable results, proven reach, zero guesswork. That's Valpak. Visit valpak.com/advertise to see if you qualify for a free mailing. That's VALPAK.com/advertise. Let's grow.
The last thing anyone wants is to leave behind confusion, stress, or worse, family conflict. That's why estate planning isn't just for the wealthy. It's for families like mine, and probably like yours. With Trust and Will, I created my estate plan in minutes, from naming guardians for my kids to putting our house in a trust to avoid probate. Fast, affordable, and way easier than I thought. Every plan is designed by estate planning attorneys and customized for your state. Plans start at just $199 and include essentials like healthcare directives and power of attorney. With Trust and Will's bank-level security and built-in privacy protections, your personal information and your wishes stay safe. Whether you're newly married, raising kids, caring for aging parents, or just want peace of mind, Trust and Will makes it easy to protect what matters most. Go to trustandwill.com, use code RADIO at checkout, and save 20% on your personalized plan. Because there's no better time to protect the people you love. Trust and Will is an online estate planning service. See website for details.
You want to see basketball played the way it's supposed to be? Tune in to Ice Cube's Big 3 this summer. Watch stars like Dwight Howard, Kemba Walker, Joe Johnson, Michael Beasley, and many more, along with Hall of Fame coaches. Experience the fast pace and physical play and fun action that defines the game. You know what it is. It's the Big 3. Catch the best professional 3-on-3 players in the world live every weekend on CBS and Vice.
Still getting around to that fix on your car? You got this. On eBay, you'll find millions of parts guaranteed to fit. Doesn't matter if it's a major engine repair or your first time swapping your windshield wipers. eBay has that part you need, ready to click perfectly into place for changes big and small, loud or quiet. Find all the parts you need at prices you'll love, guaranteed to fit every time. But you already know that. eBay. Things, people, love. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
iHeartRadio Earth is here with a new way to enjoy our beautiful planet. Energy consumption is a primary contributor to a changing climate, producing around 27% of greenhouse gases in the United States. Save money and energy at home by turning off your computer completely before you go to bed. Brought to you by iHeartRadio Earth and the National Environmental Education Foundation. To find more tips for smarter, sustainable living or to take action in your own community, go to iHeartRadio.com/Earth.
Sports Radio 1300 The Zone, your home for the Horns.
Welcome back to the morning kickoff AM 1300 Zone. Mike Hardge, Mark Henry, filling in. Hardball Hardge, Eric Henry, Henry Mint in the building on Texas Longhorn Monday. We are going to keep the Texas football talk on. As we mentioned, the wait is over. The offseason is officially in the rearview mirror as the Texas Longhorns return to the practice field this week. Definitely got to keep it going. Mark, you threw this topic out there. We got football. You threw this out there. I thought this was really interesting, this topic you threw out there. 3 things that could derail Texas football in 2025.
Yeah, I mean, you never want to think negatively. And I'm not thinking negatively. I'm an optimist for the most part. But the number one thing is injury. Injury is always, and I'm not talking about the tight end. That's injuries. But the injury can derail, but every position Texas has depth. So I don't feel like you may have some unproven guy if an injury pops up to anybody. Not being specific to any position, I'm just saying overall in the totality. The second thing I feel like can derail is 2 losses. Anytime that you have 2 losses back to back,
Sure.
or something like that, which
Sure.
we haven't seen in 3 years.
Right.
So I think something like that will start to boo birds. Like, what is Coach Sark doing? That kind of thing. And third and lastly, I think that the thing that can derail is dissension of players. And we're going to talk about that
right
in the Hard Knock Life.
Right.
Like sometimes players, they get cross with each other and start an argument. I told Hardge a story about, me in high school. Our quarterback and our wide receiver at Silsbee were fighting over a girl. And we're in the playoffs, and he wouldn't throw him the ball.
Wow.
And tried to run it and got tackled. Like we could have went. We could have went to the semifinals.
So your high school had a whole Jason Kidd, Jamal Mashburn.
Yeah.
Tony Braxton.
We did. We had a Tony Braxton incident, man. So like those are the 3 things I feel like can derail a team's effort to trying to be a champion in the conference and nationally.
Mark, I'm going to go back to your first point, which is injuries. And this question, it's not meant to be rhetorical, so I'll give you a shot. When's the last time in Steve Sarkisian's era that they've played only one quarterback the entire season?
Ooh, I can't think of it.
They haven't. Every year in Steve Sarkisian's tenure, they've had an injury at quarterback. Quinn Ewers, every year he was a starter. Remember, he got knocked out against Alabama. He got knocked out in 2023 and, of course, got knocked out last year, right? It's been a long time since Texas has only played one quarterback. The reason I mention that when you talk about injuries is, yes, to your point, Texas has depth at every single position. However, and if I may use Steve Sarkisian's phrase of we're not young, we're inexperienced. Same thing with backup quarterback. That is a competition, Marcus and Mark, that I'm keeping my eye on throughout all of fall camp. They brought in Matthew Caldwell, a kid from Troy, right? Now, obviously going from the Sun Belt to the SEC, that's like going, Mark, that's like going from the Indies to wrestling in WrestleMania, right?
Right.
It's a big time jump. Is he someone who can step in, not even a full-time starter at Troy, started 5 games. Where does he fall? Where does Trey Owens? Trey Owens looks the part, 6'4", 225, kid out of Cy-Fair, Houston, Texas, right? Looks the part, but inexperienced. Where does KJ Lacey, a true freshman, come in? So you want to knock on wood that Arch Manning, I guess I knocked on his table, not quite wood, but
Arch Manning, particle board, brother.
Arch Manning.
We can't afford real wood over here.
But Sark is one of those coaches who will try to get their guys prepared. So regardless, I can see him hopefully in more blowout situations. If Texas get that, they can get some of the backup guys in there, give them a
chance to get some reps,
some experience.
And that's been something that Steve actually has dedicated time in the non-conference games. He kind of took a little bit of heat, I believe it was last year, when he referred to the non-conference games as preseason, right? People, read into that saying, oh man, preseason, like, is he disrespecting other teams? No, he's saying, hey, if we can use games, ideally, if we're taking care of business against San Jose State, against Sam Houston State, to get some backups in, that will help so that down the road, if those guys are called on, to you guys' point,
I'm not afraid of that though. Trey Owens, like you watch what he did last year,
yeah,
and you watch what he did in the spring. All he did is light it up.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead, Marcus.
And to Sark's point, it is like preseason. You have more playoff spots now, and you're in the SEC. Right. So if you run the table in the SEC, regardless of what you do in non-conference game, you're going to be one of the 12.
Well, you want that mentality for your team because there's a lot of these kids that come into the University of Texas and they want to be NFL football players. That's their dream. They want to play for Texas. They want to play in college. They want to play in high Division I. But the ultimate goal, I want to play in the NFL. And Steve is giving that. And that's one of the payments that, and we're going to talk about that too. You know, like when you try to convince somebody that, hey, I'm gonna sell you this, you know, this bill of goods. What's the pros and the cons? That's one of the pros.
No doubt about it. And to come to your second point, when you talked about losing back-to-back games, I see you've got your Phil Steele, which shout out to Phil Steele.
The Bible,
always does a great job, got that in front of you. Mark, there's a stretch when Texas goes to Florida that they will.
Whoa, just because you're from Florida, don't go doing that.
Hang on. Hear me out. This is what I'm saying. Because listen, I was not raised a Gator fan. All right. As a working journalist, I'm a fan of no team, but I wasn't raised a Gator fan. I'm not going there. What I am saying is they don't play in Austin for a month. They're going to be away from home territory for a month, right? You got to go to Florida, Red River Shootout. Brent Venables needs a win in the worst way.
In the worst way.
In the worst way. All right. So that's going to be challenging. And then, of course, you go to Kentucky, to Mississippi State, two teams that, let's just call a spade a spade. They're not.
Texas should beat them.
They should beat, but you know just how Texas is everybody's Super Bowl. Them folks in Lexington, Kentucky, them folks in Starkville, Mississippi are going to be fired up. They're probably going to be having some adult beverages throughout the morning to get themselves ready to go.
No, they drink moonshine in Kentucky.
And those two games being on the road is, especially without so many home games, it will wear on you that those games will be closer than previously expected.
That's the point, Marcus, is those. Hey, listen, Texas should win those games, but you know those folks are going to be fired up. They want to give Texas, the fans, they want to give them everything they have. So those are two games to keep an eye on to make sure, hey, not them saying you're going to lose, but you don't want, to your point, Mark, you don't want the snowball effect.
Yeah, no, not at all. The derailment is real. So what's your third thing?
My third thing, to be completely honest with you, is it's the big boys up front. I want to know the continuity on the offensive line. How quickly can that come together? So I'm a big believer. Offensive line, as much as it is a skill position thing, and Mark, I covered Group of 5 football for 6 years. No disrespect to the G5s, the skill can't match up with SEC. But when you've been through the wars, you've been through the summers, you've played together 2-3 years, I know what that left guard is doing. I'm my center. I know how to communicate. That, to me, is huge. So how quickly can Kyle Flood build that with his offensive line and at defensive tackle? Can those guys hold up for an entire season?
That's good. That's good. But I still think that that last one, to me, is guys are fighting over money.
Sure.
Not at Texas, because you have a great team leader. You know, people say that, you know, this Steve Sarkisian is not just a football coach, but he's also a general manager. He's a he's a guy that basically a psychiatrist. Like he's everything rolled into one, which is why Texas pays him the big bucks. Is he's a guy that's had experience and trained under two of the best coaches of all time, and Nick Saban, and you know, right now the current coach at the Raiders, Pete Carroll, was his mentor. So, like, when you have guys that have that kind of experience, he can fix it. But there's a lot of teams that don't. And you, my friend, are going to be talking about that in the Hardge Knock Life. So I'm excited about
this.
This
is a preview section of the
preview of the Hardge Knock Life. Even though Mike Hardge is on vacation, Eric Henry is going to deliver the goods. And we'll be doing that here in just a few minutes.
Yeah. And one quick thing to bring us back full circle with the discussion here. You talked about things that can derail and how Steve Sarkisian sets the tone. Here's someone else who sets the tone. Arch Manning. When Arch Manning comes in, someone who could take $10 million in NIL fund, right? In NIL money, and says, you know what? I'm not going to take it.
I'm not going to take it.
That sets the tone for the rest of the team all the way down. Now, listen, not every player comes from the same circumstances, Arch Manning, but that helps send the message in my mind, Mark.
Yeah, I mean, historically, this is something that's going to be talked about for a long, long time because Arch didn't do that.
There you go. Morning Kickoff, AM 1300, The Zone. Mike Hardge, Mark Henry filling in for Hardball Hardge, Eric Henry of 24/7 Sports, the Henry men in the building. We will be back. AM 1300 Zone, Morning Kickoff.
From the Odoo.com Traffic Center, Odoo.com, the only business software you will need.
The left lane's blocked off by a crash on Highway 71 westbound at Riverside Drive, causing a 5-minute backup from Thornberry, but should be gone pretty soon. All lanes are closed down due to a crash on Ed Bluestein Boulevard northbound at Techni Center Drive, and we're pretty slow on I-35 northbound from Onion Creek Parkway up to William Cannon. I'm Jason Fossig with a look at Austin area traffic.
This report is sponsored by Rapid Radios.
Rapid Radios are instant push-to-talk walkie-talkies, offering national LTE coverage and no subscription ever. Perfect for instant contact with an aging parent. For a limited time, go to rapidradios.com and you'll get an extra 60% off, free UPS shipping, and add code RADIO for an extra 5% off.
Lowe's knows big savings make a big difference, especially when you're shopping for appliances. Hurry in to get up to 30% off select major appliances. Plus, My Lowe's Rewards members get free delivery, free haul away, free installation and parts on purchases of $2,500 or more. Lowe's, we help, you save. Valid through 7/30. Selection varies by location. While supplies last. Price, delivery time, and vehicle availability may vary based on order size and location. Exclusions apply. See Lowe's.com/delivery for more details.
Our iHeartRadio Music Festival, presented by Capital One, is coming back to Las Vegas, September 19th and 20th. Streaming live only on Hulu. Tickets are on sale now at AXS.com. Get your tickets today. AXS.com.
Hi, Zoe Saldana. Welcome to T-Mobile. Here's your new iPhone 16 Pro on us.
Thanks. And here's my old phone to trade in.
You don't need a trade-in. When you switch to T-Mobile, we'll give you a new iPhone 16 Pro. Plus, we'll help you pay off your old phone up to $800, and you still get to keep it.
There's always a trade-in.
Not right now at T-Mobile.
I feel like I have to give you something in return for karma.
That's okay.
I don't really have much in my purse. Oh, let's see. Hand sanitizer. It's lavender.
I'm good. Seriously.
Let me check this pocket. Oh, mints?
Really, I'm fine.
Oh, I have raisins. I'm a mom. Wait one sec. I've got cupcakes in the car.
It's our best iPhone offer ever. Switch to T-Mobile. Get a new iPhone 16 Pro with Apple Intelligence on us. No trade-in needed. We'll even pay off your phone up to $800.
With 24 monthly bill credits, new line $100 plus a month and experience beyond finance agreement $999.99 and qualifying for it. For well qualified plus tax and $10 connection charge. Pay off via virtual prepaid card allow 15 days. Credits end and balance due if you pay off early or cancel. See T-Mobile.com.
This is your captain. We are going to be experiencing some slight turbulence. Please fasten your... Oh, hold on. Just got a video of my cat.
Imagine the pilot of an airplane was as confident as you are texting and driving. Seems kind of crazy when you put it like that.
Visit StopTextStopWrecks.org. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
If Old Spice Deep Sea Super Hydration Body Wash were music, what would it sound like? Start with the deep sounds of Old Spice's ocean waves and kelp. Layer on the smooth, renewing moisture. You wouldn't hear any parabens or phthalates because Old Spice Deep Sea hasn't got any. But you would hear that vitamin B3 for healthier looking skin. So while your regular body wash sounds like this, Old Spice sounds like this. Sounds like it smells amazing.
The A's down the Astros to snap their 4-game skid. Giants open a weekend set against the Mets tonight at Oracle Park. Logan Webb on the bump for San Francisco. The Raiders released defensive tackle Christian Wilkins, with the team voiding the remaining $35.2 million of guaranteed money that was left on his contract due to how Wilkins approached his rehab from a foot injury. I'm Ron Tomas.
Hey, this is Lincoln Kennedy. Here's what's trending on the iHeart Sports Network.
Presented by Mercedes-Benz.
The Mercedes-Benz Dream Days are back with offers on vehicles like the 2025 E-Class, CLE Coupe, C-Class, and EQE Sedan. Hurry in now through July 31st. Visit your local authorized dealer or learn more at mbusa.com/dream.
Check out Behind the Flow, a podcast documentary series following the launch of San Diego Football Club.
San Diego coming to MLS is going to be a game changer because this region has been hungry for a men's professional soccer team.
We need to embrace this community.
Listen to San Diego FC Behind the Flow on America's #1 podcast network, iHeart. Open your free iHeart app and search Behind the Flow and start listening.
Sports Radio 1300 The Zone, covering the 40 acres.
What?
AM 1300, the Zone Morning Kickoff. Mike Hardball Hardge, world's strongest man, Mark Henry, sitting in for Hardball Hardge, Eric, 24/7 Sports, and Horse 24/7. A little bit of mystical bringing us back in the building. I was disappointed, Mark. We had Corey filling in last week. He didn't know the mystical. I'm like, I just turned 34.
No, wait. Time out.
He did not know.
No
Mark,
clue.
No.
He had no clue.
So listen, I just turned 34. Corey is 28.
Oh,
Is
see,
that
that's the
much
thing. I didn't realize that much of a difference. Yeah, my son. You know, I'm. You remember the song Southside? Yeah. You know, so like all of these, this is all brand new. You never heard 24 lighters on my dresser? Yes, sir. None of the Houston music that I grew up listening to. He heard none of it, and now he love it. I was like, Jacob, this is old. This shoot, man, this is live. I said, yeah, it is. But
I didn't realize that, again, just 6 years difference.
The young people, man, they different. They different.
So I had to give Corey a hard time. Like I said, you know, I'm 34, he's 28. I expect him to know mystical, but nevertheless, Hardge Knox Life segment coming up here right now in the morning kickoff. And there's something that I definitely want to get into is this NIL discussion, Mark, piggybacking off of what you were talking about, one of the things that could derail Texas football being conflict in the locker room. There's a story that came out, I believe Mike Florio is the one who reported it over NBC Sports, talking about Michael Locksley, the Maryland head coach, who his quote here directly is, it's Michael David Smith, NBC Sports. But the quote here is, Michael Locksley said this: a year ago, Coach Locks lost his locker room. We've had haves and have-nots for the first time. The landscape of college football taught me a valuable lesson in terms of paying his players, talking about they had to attract new recruits. So you want to have the NIL funds for them, but how do you also reward the veteran players? And I think it's, you know, one of the reasons, Mark and Marcus, why I believe Texas is best set up, or one of the best programs in the nation in terms of how they're set up to handle this, is A, the funding is there. We know the funding is there.
Right.
But Steve Sarkisian, general manager Brandon Harris, it all trickles down. The way they handle things. For example, there was talk about, why isn't Texas getting certain recruits? Is Texas, are they missing it? They slipping? No, it's not that. It's, why am I going to pay a big-time recruit an exorbitant amount of money when I know I still have, because we don't have contracts in place, Mark, I still have players on my roster who may come to me next year and want to renegotiate. Players on my roster who may earn more funding, more of a salary, more income. That to me is huge. So to bring it back full circle, the reason why I want to make this my Hardge Knox Life, I'm passionate about it. These coaches, I'm not saying you can use Texas as a model for everything. However, if you're a big-time Division I program, a big-time FBS program who is, you know, Mark, I'm curious how Texas Tech is going to handle this, because they're throwing out money, which they have the ability to do, and that's great for them. But what happens when you have a player who says, hey, I'm performing better in practice, Mark.
I had 6 sacks this season.
I performed on the field. I'm performing better than this person in practice. But just because you agreed, remember, Felix Ojo's deal, fully guaranteed.
Yeah. What if he's a bust?
What if?
That's something that hasn't been put out there yet.
What if? So that, to me, is why I think, and Texas is not the only program that's handling things in this manner, right? But we're just using it because, in the sake, we're here in Austin, Texas. We're in Longhorn country. It's a Longhorn Monday. So we're going to talk about the Horns. I don't think Steve Sarkisian and Brandon Harris have gotten enough credit for the way they've been able to manage the changing landscape, the evolving landscape of NIL. And I'll give you one more in terms of how I think this is specific to Steve. How many coaches in the nation, you know, that would have fumbled the Arch Manning-Quinn Ewers relationship?
A lot. It would have been very difficult to say, you listen to people like Paul Feinbaum, who was like, why would you not put Arch in the game when Quinn was obviously struggling? There were times where you could tell he was injured, or you could tell that something was up, but we didn't know the extent of his injury because he was a tough guy and he didn't sell it.
And Mark, something that, and you can appreciate this, sometimes a guy just earns the locker room, right? That's the thing. We can tie all these discussions in together in terms of Mike Locksley saying he lost the locker room. Quinn Ewers earned the respect of that locker room. Let's not forget this. A lot of last year's roster, those are guys that came in with Quinn. The Jade Barons, the insert veteran, a lot of the veterans on the offensive line. These are all guys who 22, they played with Quinn Ewers, saw him go down, saw him come back, guide the team to 8 wins. 2023, they saw Quinn Ewers go down, gut his way back, come back and lead this team to a national semifinal appearance, right? Same thing in 2024. So you run the risk, in my opinion, of losing the locker room if Steve Sarkisian panics and says, all right, I'm going to go to Arch Manning. Well, then what does that say for a guy who's trying to work his way up on the depth chart, saying, man, this dude's out there fighting his way through injuries, coming back early, and then he gets benched for injury? So again, to bring it back full circle, just the way that Steve Sarkisian in Texas, there are things you can critique. We will talk this week while I'm in here for Hardge about the red zone. We'll talk about the goal line. We'll find plenty of things to critique Steve Sarkisian about. Yeah. But I don't think he's gotten enough credit for the way they've managed this locker room with the evolving, changing landscape of college football, Mark.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you what, man. I wrote down 2 notes while you were giving the Hard Knocks life. And number 1, let loyalty be important. And you can tell that to every quarterback that comes here from now on. And number 2 is you can't pay when you have pro starters already. You can't pay a rookie pro starter money. I can't do it, guys, because I'm giving you. And the third thing was I'm giving you something, or you're buying into the fact that we put guys in the pros. We're going to give you more of an opportunity to be what you want to be, what you dream about, because you came here to this university.
I can see that, the players trust Sark, because I can see him as a guy.
He hasn't been wrong yet.
Yeah, he's a guy with a plan. He tells the plan. He doesn't deviate from the plan. So the players trust him because he's honest with them up front. You might lose some guys from coming, but the guys who come will trust you 100%.
And when they get here and they see that there's a pecking order, it's just like being in the military. Like I grew up around military guys. My Uncle Andrew, who just passed away, and I went to his funeral yesterday or Saturday. He was a military guy. He used to tell us, like, hey, y'all gonna understand the chain of command. It's Paw first, me second, and then we'll talk about y'all. That's Coach Sark is not. I don't think that he's military, but he runs a very structured program, and the people have bought in.
And then he followed that with, that's what I do.
That's what we do.
No doubt about it. Morning Kickoff, AM 1300 The Zone. Eric Henry in for Hardball Hardge. World's strongest man, Mark Henry. We'll be back.
For the 4th time in 5 years, the Texas Longhorns have won the Directors' Cup.
Texas wins the national championship. The Longhorns are on top of the college softball world.
From the courts to the field, Texas has dominated the nation.
Texas is going to the Final Four. The Texas women are headed for the Final Four.
1300 The Zone, the home of the Texas Longhorns. Hook 'em.
The JV and Sandy Show podcast. Stream it on the iHeartRadio app.
A correction on the crash that closes down all lanes on Ed Bluestein Boulevard. This is actually going southbound at Techney Center Drive. And looking at the morning drive over on I-35 northbound, seeing some stop-and-go speeds, making that change from Onion Creek Parkway over to William Cannon. Plan for 8 to 10 minutes to be added to your commute. I'm Jason Fossick with a look at Austin area traffic.
This report is sponsored by Rapid Radios.
Rapid Radios are instant push-to-talk walkie-talkies offering national LTE coverage and no subscription ever. Business owners can now keep in touch with up to 200 staff members at one time. Go to rapidradios.com now for up to 60% off and free shipping.
The Girlfriends is back with a new season, and this time I'm telling you the story of Kelly Harnett. Kelly spent over a decade in prison for a murder she says she didn't commit. As she fought for her freedom, she taught herself the law.
He goes, oh, God, Harnett, jailhouse lawyer.
And became a beacon of hope for the women locked up alongside her.
I think I was put here to save souls by getting people out of prison.
Open your free iHeartRadio app, search The Girlfriends Jailhouse Lawyer, and listen now.
There's a lot of uncertainty in the world, but one thing's for sure. You need a PC you can rely on. Whether it's for school, gaming, or whatever your next chapter holds, Lenovo.com has the tech to help you succeed. Shop PCs right now at Lenovo.com during their back-to-school sale, where students can save more when they sign up for a Lenovo education account. Free shipping, easy returns, flexible financing. That's Lenovo.com.
Lenovo. Hey, y'all, this is Jason Aldean. You know I'm all about supporting what matters to us, our families, our freedoms, and our country. That's why I made the switch to Patriot Mobile, America's only Christian conservative wireless provider. With Patriot Mobile, you're getting top quality service on the same great networks, and every bill helps support our veterans and defend our freedoms. It's time to put your dollars where it counts. Join me in switching to Patriot Mobile today. Go to patriotmobile.com/Aldean or call 972-PATRIOT today.
Do Crohn's disease or ulcerative colitis symptoms keep coming back? Tremfya, guselkumab, may help, with rapid remission achieved at 12 weeks and lasting clinical remission at 1 year. Some even saw visible improvement of their intestinal lining at 12 weeks and 1 year. Tremfya is a prescription medicine used to treat adults with moderately to severely active Crohn's disease and adults with moderately to severely active ulcerative colitis. Serious allergic reactions and increased risk of infections and liver problems may occur. Before treatment, your doctor should check you for infections and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor if you have an infection, flu-like symptoms, or if you need a vaccine. Healing is possible with Tremfya. Approximately 3 out of 10 patients were in endoscopic remission at 1 year, based on areas visualized on colonoscopy, which may not represent the deeper bowel layer or entire GI tract. Individual results may vary. Ask your doctor about Tremfya today. Call 1-800-526-7736 to learn more or visit tremfyaradio.com.
Get the Apple Leasing Advantage today. Visit appleleasing.com. That's appleleasing.com.
From the Audio-Visual Consultation Studios, Sports Radio 1300 The Zone, KBET AM Austin, your home for the Horns, and the #1 preset in your car and on the free iHeartRadio app.
iHeart is America's #1 podcast network. Open the free iHeart app and explore podcasts like this.
1971. It was a simpler time, a groovy time. Soul Train had just started chugging along. Everyone had a lava lamp for some reason. Weeble started to wobble, but as we all know, they don't fall down. It's really something. But it wasn't all Weebles and bell-bottoms. There was also the Vietnam War and a growing nationwide movement protesting it.
Look behind you. See the thousands marching today.
Across the country, people were speaking up, and the more they did, the more they learned about the hidden underbelly of the most powerful law enforcement agency in the land. I'm Ed Helms, host of Snafu, Season 2, Medberg, the story of a daring heist that exposed J. Edgar Hoover's epic FBI snafu. Hear the incredible true story that almost got buried.
I was told that it might not be published the next day or might not be published ever.
As told by the ordinary citizens who took extraordinary measures.
Getting caught was virtually inevitable.
To expose J. Edgar Hoover's secret FBI.
Many of the techniques were clearly illegal, but justified in the interest of national security.
If it meant some risks that were involved, well, that's what citizens sometimes have to do.
Listen on America's #1 podcast network, iHeart. Open your free iHeart app and listen now.
Sports Radio AM 1300 The Zone presents the Craig Way Show. Join Craig Way weekdays from 2 to 5 p.m. only on Sports Radio AM 1300 The Zone.
Sports Radio AM 1300 The Zone, morning kickoff. Hardball Hardge, Mark Henry, Eric Henry sitting in for Hardball Hardge all week. Before we get to a little more Texas football talk, Hardge did remind me to do this. So let me do this for our brother Hardge. Listen in all week long to get a chance to win, a pair of tickets to see Ghosts August 14th at Moody Center. To enter, download the iHeartRadio app, search AM 1300 The Zone, tap the red microphone, leave us a message with the keyword you heard on the radio. And today's keyword is opus. Today's keyword is opus. So listen all week to get those keywords. But fellas, keeping the Texas football talk going, one of the things we've talked about is how do you keep a cohesive locker room? And you know, when we had a chance to talk with some of the Texas players at SEC Media Days, there was a quote from Michael Taft, of course, one of the veteran leaders, Austin native. Everyone knows Michael Taft's story. And I wanted to make sure that that was talked about here on the air. Marcus, if you have that sound of Michael Taft talking about the culture and how it permeates down. Mark and I just were talking about this. Marcus can toss that sound. Listen to Michael Taft talking about Kobe Black picking up the culture.
I know when we hype up all these guys, and there's so many storylines about them, but I'll let Kobe's field play do all the talking because he's a really good guy. He's a really good football player, but also a better friend. I remember one time I was trying to, help the freshmen, and maybe I wasn't leading, a good way, or maybe I wasn't being a good teacher, but they couldn't understand the concept of what I was trying to tell them, right? And Kobe finally stood up. He was like, dude, whatever Michael Taft says, whatever Johnny Barron says, just do it. If it doesn't make sense, it doesn't make sense. Just do it because they know they have the recipe for success.
Wow. Well, I was going to ask you, Mark, when you heard that, 'cause I think you're hearing this for the first time, what comes to mind there when you hear that?
Leadership. And sometimes everybody that teaches might not have all the newest information, but out of respect for the position, we talked about chain of command, follow the orders. And you know what? Even generals have to be corrected. Even the captain sometimes has to be told, you know what, we don't do it like that anymore. So things change. And but as long as you're a good soldier and you follow the orders, then everybody else is fine. Everybody's on the same page.
The reason that stood out to me is, so much was made of the culture, Mark. I remember one of the first assignments I had when I started covering the team was Big 12 Media Day 2023. And I talked with Jordan Whittington, asking him what's different, right? Why is Texas being back, quote unquote back? Why is this year different than all the times in the past we thought they were back? And Jay Witt said, I don't know another way to say it to you, Eric. We rock with each other. We rock with each other on and off the field, right? How do you keep that culture going? I was curious how
team building. That team building. I hard to get on me, and we're going to talk about this tomorrow because the Cowboys and Texans. We're going to do a lot of NFL talk tomorrow, guys. So, along with our University of Texas analysis, we're also going to give you the NFL. Coach Schottenheimer brought in team building. He started bringing in older players to play games, to have movie nights, team and family nights, and all of these things that the Cowboys have never done. The Cowboys historically have been the White House. Us against
whoa.
I call what Mark did there.
You know what I'm saying? They've been very, let's keep our in-house. Let's have fun and let's do us. Now it's a we thing. They're bringing in the families. They want them to be more sound as far as, hey, go get some rest. We don't want you up all night.
Mark, that was a lot of we going on then too.
Well, it was a lot of them going on back then because everybody was not trying to be signed up for that. But I'm gonna tell you right now, like that's what I feel like here at Texas is you have a bunch of guys that have, for a better, not for a better term to find, is bought in and believe in the fact that the system is working. And if it wasn't working, then you would see there would be more dissension. But because Coach Sark has this thing rolling and everything that he said has come to pass, I mean, how do you argue with 11 and 13 guys respectively going to the NFL when in 3 years ago, nobody went? Zero.
Right. And I just want to say,
how do you argue with that?
I was going to say to piggyback off of your point, Mark, right? When you're a Kobe Black, right? And it means so much that a young guy who was a freshman at the time,
right,
and a sophomore picks up on that he's like, listen, you talked about, Michael Taft talked about teaching styles, right? Maybe what he was saying wasn't picking up to the young freshman. Like, man, it's not making any sense. But Kobe Black is smart enough and self-aware enough to pick up on what you said. Hey, it worked for Jahdae Barron. He's a first-round pick.
Yeah, he worked for them.
It worked for Andrew Makuba. Andrew Makuba is looking like he may have a chance to earn a starting job this year in Philly. It worked for Michael Taft. Michael Taft is borderline All-American. Some people say a legit All-American. Just do it that way. It doesn't matter if you don't pick it up now. In 2-3 years, once you do it enough times, it'll make sense, Mark.
Yeah, and from the mud, too. It's not like that Michael Taft came here highly regarded and heralded, nationally. Like, he's a guy that walked on.
And to piggyback on what you guys say, how do they continue this culture? You continue this culture because these guys are learning more than just how to be players. They're learning how to be leaders.
And men. Coach Sark has put an emphasis on these guys being responsible people.
Yes.
Like, it's very rare. Like, we had a situation a couple of weeks ago where Turpin at the Cowboys got arrested having a gun. Like, Coach Sark says, don't, guys, those are the things that derail your life, not just your football career. Like, I want y'all to be good men, have kids one day and grandkids, and be responsible people. I want that as in my coach too. I want a man. I want to be comfortable at home with my wife, knowing that my son is okay. That I'm not going to get that call at 3 a.m. Hey, we need to bail your son out. Like, I don't want that. Coach Sarkis did a good job over his last 3 years of keeping guys out the newspaper, but not because the police are not publishing nothing. It's because nothing is happening.
No doubt about it. You talk about culture setters, Michael Taft being one of the biggest culture setters for Texas football. So it's good to see that continuing into 2025. Morning Kickoff, AM 1300.
Shout out to Mookie.
Mike Hardge, Mark Henry, Eric Henry sitting in for Hardball Hardge. We'll be back in a minute.
Hardball Hardge here for Covert Ford and Hutto. This July, celebrate freedom in summer with a new Ford from Covert Ford Hutto. Right now, get $12,509 off MSRP on a new 2025 Super Duty F-250 Lariat, or $12,000 off of MSRP on a new 2025 F-150 Lariat. Two legendary trucks with star-spangled savings all month long. Visit Covert Ford and Hutto off of 79 or online at covertfordhutto.com.
Hey, if you're listening to me right now, I have one thing every business needs most: attention. Think about it. We swipe and scroll past stuff all day. But when we're driving, cooking, and working out, we're also listening. That's the magic of audio at iHeart. We're in your next customer's ears while they're living life and listening, just like you are right now. So get your customers to listen up today using radio, digital, and podcasts. Visit iHeartAdvertising.com. That's iHeartAdvertising.com.
Be sure to catch the Round Rock Express at Dell Diamond for the 25th season of Express Baseball. From post-game fireworks and exciting giveaways to Dollar Dogs and Kids Day, it all starts here. Visit RoundRockExpress.com for tickets and schedule.
Hey there. You hear that? Right. You don't. That's what it's like to order food for your workplace with Easy Cater. No hold music while you wait to place your order. No tapping as you type in special dietary instructions or long, complicated searches for options in your budget. No crinkling of paper receipts. Just
dang, these are some tasty sandwiches.
EasyCater, the better way to order food for work. Order now at easycater.com.
There's nothing like King's Hawaiian sliders and summer grilling season. They go together. You got King's Hawaiian, soft, fluffy, irresistible rolls, slider buns, so versatile, perfect for any slider. No matter if you're looking to grill chicken or beef or pork, seafood, anything you can think of, you're going to put it on the grill, you can put it on a King's Hawaiian slider bun. Kick off summer grilling season. Pick up a pack of those irresistible King's Hawaiian rolls in the bakery or deli section of your local grocery store. There's nothing like it.
You've got an app for music, an app for photos, maybe even one that helps you sleep. But only one app puts the live radio dial in your pocket and lets you save your favorite stations, playlists, and podcasts as presets. Get the free iHeartRadio app, the #1 app for radio.
iHeartRadio Did You Know? Presented by iHeartRadio. You know, what you're listening to right now. Did you know that iHeartRadio not only lets you listen to all your favorite AM/FM stations locally and nationwide for free, but iHeartRadio also gives you access to over 350,000 podcasts. Yeah, including all the most popular hosts and shows worldwide. Best of all, you can listen to all your podcasts for free. Tap on the podcast tab and explore podcasts from over 20 different topics. Sports to comedy, history to crime, music to politics, and much, much more. While you're listening, iHeartRadio will remember where you left off and pick back up when you return. You can adjust your listening speeds to slow down or speed up your podcast, follow your favorite titles to get updates when new episodes drop, and download podcast episodes right on your phone so you can listen anytime, even without an internet connection. All the podcasts you want and all the functionality to make listening great. And you don't need any other app. It's all on iHeartRadio. #1 for music, radio, and podcasting, all in one app.
iHeartRadio.
From the Audio-Visual Consultation Studios, Sports Radio 1300 The Zone, KBET AM Austin, your home for the Horns, and the #1 preset in your car and on the free iHeartRadio app.
The morning kickoff. The morning kickoff.
It's the morning kickoff with Mike Hardball Hardge and the world's strongest man, WWE Hall of Famer Mark Henry, on your home for the Horns, 1300 The Zone.
It is a Texas Longhorn Monday. This is Sports Radio AM 1300 The Zone morning kickoff. World's strongest man, Mark Henry, Eric Henry, sitting in for Hardball Hardge. What's going on, Mark?
We've been so serious. We've been so serious. We've been such journalists today. I just got to have some fun. Hardge knows that he's like, oh, God, he finna say something. How did Michael Tabb get the name Mookie?
Okay, so.
And do you think that he is the only Mookie in Westlake? I'm just saying.
Mark, it's funny you said we've been such journalists. I came away, entering this week, love the opportunity. Shout out to Hard, shout out to, Cameron Park for the opportunity to sit in with y'all. I had two objectives. One is to continue the show, have a great show. Two, because he told me that Mark could be a joker, is to make sure I still got my job. I can walk back in next week, but we can have the conversation here. Because listen, I've speculated. I've wondered the same thing. I've said, man, Mookie, that's a very urban nickname, And listen,
say it with your chest. Say what it really is.
Say the same with my chest, Mark. See,
very urban name. No, that is a nickname that's very synonymous with Black people.
No doubt about it.
And for him to have the nickname Mookie, like that tells me so much about the way that the players look at him.
Right. No, that's a good point.
And you need that in a brotherhood. No color, no nothing, brotherhood. And if he is that guy and the conduit to bringing everybody together, more power to him.
And Mark, real quick, before we get into the discussion, we're going to talk. Of course, we talked about this last Friday with Corey, and I felt it was only right to bring it back with you, Mark. We kind of talked about as far as things that could derail the season, but I kind of wanted to ask you in terms of, biggest concerns in terms of just position groups. So we'll get to that in a second. But something that you talk about, Mookie, I think is interesting. The nickname is your play has to back that up, right?
Yeah.
Your play has to back it up. And also,
and it has.
And also, Mark, you appreciate this. You got to be authentic. To earn a nickname like that from the fellas, from the bros, like you got to be authentic. And that's one thing about Michael Taft. You can never question his authenticity, right? He's not out there faking, trying to be someone he's not.
So at media day, he walks with such swagger and confidence that when he walks in a room, you don't even have to know that he's a football player. You go, who is that guy? What do you do?
1,000%.
He walks with and that would make that the leader of men has to be that guy. They have to be him.
Mark, it's kind of a running inside joke amongst some of the Texas media beat is that Michael Taft, whenever he's done playing football, it's going to be mayor of Austin. Is it going to be Michael Taft Toyota? Because like you said,
watch. There's no other way to say it.
Got my vote.
But that guy will be a mayor, a head coach, he's going to be somebody that's going to be very influential and special because of his ability to lead. And the confidence factor. It's like Matthew McConaughey. If you ever met Matthew McConaughey, when Matthew talks, you're looking at him like, man, are you selling me? This you ain't real. This is not real. But he's just that confident. He was a bartender at Catfish Station when I first moved to Austin, and he would say all the time, "This is a stop for me. I'm going to be famous." Like when you know it and you can like really show everybody, you got to be. And Michael Taft is one of those guys.
Well said, Mark. But to jump into the discussion in terms of your biggest concern, in terms of position groups, Mark, with Texas football, I can lead off here. And, I talked about backup quarterback injuries being a thing that could derail the season for Texas. But biggest concern for me, and I talked about the offensive line a little bit, but this is a nice segue. If I may do a cheap plug, I wrote this article over up at horns247.com.
Come on, man.
Communication in the secondary, Mark. And this is the point I made to Corey last week. I'll make it to you. One of the biggest reasons, the two biggest reasons we heard from Texas football secondary, when they struggled in the secondary pass defense 2023, we heard we got to do a better job tackling, communication. Well, how do you solve communication? You go get an Andrew Makuba, someone who was trained with Michael Taft, someone who's trained with Jahdae Barron from the time they're in middle school, right? So that built-in communication, that built-in, I can look at Taft, I can look at Makuba and know just a little eyes, and I can know what he's doing. Now that's gone because Makuba's off to the NFL, Jahdae's off to the NFL. How do you create, again, that level of communication, that level of cohesion? And when I asked Steve Sarkisian that question at SEC Media Days, one of the things he said, ironically, Mark and Marcus, was you would think you have Michael Taft and he's going to be the guy who's going to just take the mantle, right, and be the main voice back there. But they said no. They muzzled Taft during the spring. We want a Derek Williams. We want a Jelani McDonald, Malik Muhammad. These guys to find their voice,
right,
so they can know how to communicate. So that way, it's not just what happens if Michael Taft goes down, right? Then we don't have anybody who can communicate. No, now we're building a secondary of guys who all can communicate.
So y'all get that inside information right there. That's that inside. Ooh, man, look at us. We got to have you come in more often.
Listen, I can't Wally Pipp Mike Hardge, you know what I'm saying? Hardge with a baseball guy, he'll get that reference. But
we love it when you call in.
Hey,
we love it because we always get something out of it. And that was a case right there where you get the inside information that you don't get. And I'm my number one concern is there going to be enough carries for Trey Wisner? Because now with Baxter back, Baxter was the star back. He was the guy that was supposed to carry them to the championship, the hammer,
right?
And you were the nail. And now Wisner showed up big last year, and he's gained 10 pounds, no fat. He wants to be more of a hammer because he knows that Baxter is back. So now you've elevated your offensive output at the running back position, is there going to be enough carries?
It's an interesting.
And how do you delegate that?
It's an interesting question, Mark. And I would say this, right? So let me start with Contravion Wisner, because he's someone who I'm glad that he earned the recognition of being a preseason all SEC first teamer, because he's a 1,000-yard rusher. I believe my memory is correct, the lone 1,000-yard rusher returning in the SEC. But something that he talked about, Mark, that gives me optimism for this Texas running back room, and I'm going to tie it all in together in terms of your point, is when we spoke with Trey in the spring, he said, I didn't feel comfortable making guys miss, right? Because remember, the big issue for Texas football last year in terms of the running backs was guys hold on to the football. He said, I was just worried about getting my 5 yards, hanging on to the football, and making sure I can live to see another down. This year, he said the thing he's worked on is being more elusive, making guys miss in the open field. Now, to your question, I think if Trey Wisner can carry that load the first 4 or 5 weeks, that gives CJ Baxter room to find his footing back, coming back from that knee injury. Then I'm playing the long game here, Mark. I'm playing the long game.
Okay.
I think with the way Contravion Wisner's, if his game excels and elevates, that gives CJ time to find his footing come week 10, week 11, week 12. Then you're talking about having a two-headed monster that's as good, if not the best, possibly not just in the SEC, but one of the top 1-2 duos in the nation. And I think in terms of the running back room with the carries, we'll fill it out early on. Don't forget about Baby Rhino, Jarrett Gibson as well.
Gibson and Clark.
And
Christian
back. Clark. So my thing is this: play the long game with CJ Baxter.
Okay, I'm gonna let you.
And if you got those two, that two-headed monster running through in the whole season, what does that cause for the rest of the team offensively? That means that the inexperienced line gets to push people around. You take pressure off of Arch.
Yeah.
So, and then those passing plays become even deeper passing plays, because now you got safeties
You
playing
get play
up.
action because they playing so close to the line of scrimmage.
Yes.
No doubt about it. And here's something else that I think, kind of went a little bit under the radar last year is this, right? Is terms of Texas football and the run game. And, maybe the times when they struggle against Georgia or against Ohio State, you got to stay on schedule, right? As an offense, you got to go first down, pick up 3-4 yards. You stay on schedule. Go ahead, Mark.
What hit me just now is if you have that Wisner and you have CJ Baxter in the game against Ohio State, and you can run directly at people and they can't stop you, do they win? Do they lose that game? Because the call that Coach Sark made, they moved laterally.
Right.
And the defense was able to flow to the ball. But if you're running directly at you and you can't stop it, and then Arch, I've seen Peyton Manning run into the end zone with nobody around him before because they had such a powerful running game with Edgerrin James. What if that's what Texas becomes, where you can run directly at people, and then you have a quarterback that his speed got up to 22 miles per hour. Pull it and then just run around the end. So there's so many more options that I feel like is afforded them because of a powerful running game.
No, Mark, I'll give you this to amplify your point, right? And I'm going to publish this article later this week. I looked at every Texas offensive play last year, went through the PDFs of each play offensively, and I pulled out short yardage and goal line because I wanted to see what is Steve Sarkisian calling when it's 3 yards or less, when it's 2 yards or less, when it's red zone, when it's goal line. And this is what I found that was interesting. Their success rate in terms of conversions, granted small sample size with Arch, but it was a little bit better because, in my opinion, and I have to go back and look at the plays actually visually, when you have the threat of Arch running, right, that's another thing the defense has to account for. So your offensive, your play sheet, your call sheet is expanded in those short yardage, in those red zone, in those goal line areas, right? Yeah. And into your point in terms of the power run game, right? When you have that building, you can do more things. But we certainly will get into that and much more. Morning Kickoff, AM 1300, The Zone. Mark Henry, Eric Henry, Sports Radio, AM 1300, The Zone. We'll be back in a minute.
The Craig Way Show.
So Texas goes in there to play him in Danny Meyer Coliseum in Florida. Kurt Thomas played the game of his life, and TCU upset Texas. So a month later, they have the rematch in Austin. Texas blows them out of the water. Billy Tubbs did not want to go in and do the postgame. That's when he walked into the news conference, stood at the microphone and said, okay, I'm only going to take 3 questions. And then somebody raised their hand. Why only 3 questions, Coach? Now you're down to 2 questions.
Weekdays at 2.
Our iHeart Radio Music Festival, presented by Capital One, is back in Vegas.
T-Mobile Arena.
Streaming live only on Hulu. A weekend full of superstar performances. Listen, starting next Monday, to win your way there.
Escape to poolside paradise at MGM Resorts in Las Vegas. Sip on a refreshing cocktail. Lounge in a luxury cabana. Earn on nonstop fun with MGM Rewards. Book a sizzling summer escape today. Visit MGMRewards.com for details.
The JB and Sandy Show podcast. Stream it on the iHeartRadio app.
The left lane's blocked off by a stalled vehicle on 183 southbound after Duval, causing a 5 to 7 minute slowdown for McNeil Drive. There's also a stalled vehicle in the left lane northbound on 183 at Mopac, and all lanes are closed down due to a crash on the southbound side of Ed Bluestein Boulevard at Techney Center Drive. I'm Jason Fossick with a look at Austin area traffic.
This report is sponsored by Rapid Radios.
Rapid Radios are instant push-to-talk walkie-talkies offering national LTE coverage and no subscription ever. Perfect for instant contact with an aging parent. For a limited time, go to rapidradios.com and you'll get an extra 60% off, free UPS shipping, and add code radio for an extra 5% off.
You want to see basketball played the way it's supposed to be? Tune in to Ice Cube's Big 3 this summer. Watch stars like Dwight Howard, Kemba Walker, Joe Johnson, Michael Beasley, and many more, along with Hall of Fame coaches. Experience the fast pace and physical play and fun action that defines the game. You know what it is. It's the Big 3. Catch the best professional 3-on-3 players in the world live every weekend on CBS and Vice.
Lowe's knows big savings make a big difference, especially when you're shopping for appliances. Hurry in to get up to 30% off select major appliances. Plus, My Lowe's Rewards members get free delivery, free haul away, free installation and parts on purchases of $2,500 or more. Lowe's, we help, you save. Valid through 7/30. Selection varies by location. While supplies last. Price, delivery time, and vehicle availability may vary based on order size and location. Exclusions apply. See Lowe's.com/delivery for more details.
There's nothing like when you get that part from eBay and it just fits. Yeah, the first time. So you can do less of this and get right back to more of this. At eBay, you'll find all the parts you need, guaranteed to fit, at prices you'll love. Sounds good, doesn't it? eBay, things people love. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
Do Crohn's disease or ulcerative colitis symptoms keep coming back? Tremfya, guselkumab, may help, with rapid remission achieved at 12 weeks and lasting clinical remission at 1 year. Some even saw visible improvement of their intestinal lining at 12 weeks and 1 year. Tremfya is a prescription medicine used to treat adults with moderately to severely active Crohn's disease and adults with moderately to severely active ulcerative colitis. Serious allergic reactions and increased risk of infections and liver problems may occur. Before treatment, your doctor should check you for infections and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor if you have an infection, flu-like symptoms, or if you need a vaccine. Healing is possible with Tremfya. Approximately 3 out of 10 patients were in endoscopic remission at 1 year, based on areas visualized on colonoscopy, which may not represent the deeper bowel layer or entire GI tract. Individual results may vary. Ask your doctor about Tremfya today. Call 1-800-526-7736 to learn more or visit tremfyaradio.com.
Hi, Zoe Saldana. Welcome to T-Mobile. Here's your new iPhone 16 Pro on us.
Thanks. And here's my old phone to trade in.
You don't need a trade-in. When you switch to T-Mobile, we'll give you a new iPhone 16 Pro. Plus, we'll help you pay off your old phone up to $800, and you still get to keep it.
There's always a trade-in.
Not right now at T-Mobile.
I feel like I have to give you something in return for karma.
That's okay.
I don't really have much in my purse. Oh, let's see. Hand sanitizer. It's lavender.
I'm good. Seriously.
Let me check this pocket. Oh, mints?
Really, I'm fine.
Oh, I have raisins. I'm a mom. Wait, one sec. I've got cupcakes in the car.
It's our best iPhone offer ever. Switch to T-Mobile. Get a new iPhone 16 Pro with Apple Intelligence on us. No trade-in needed. We'll even pay off your phone up to $800.
With 24 monthly bill credits, new line, $100 plus a month on experience beyond finance agreement, $999.99 and qualifying forwarded. For well qualified plus tax and $10 connection charge. Pay off via virtual prepaid card below 15 days. Credits end and balance due if you pay off early or cancel. See T-Mobile.com.
Wake up with Hardge and Henry in the morning kickoff on 1300 The Zone.
Sports Radio AM 1300 The Zone. Morning kickoff. Mike Hardball Hardge. World's strongest man, Mark Eric Henry sitting in for Hardball Hardge on this Longhorn Monday. And Mark, it's a great thing we got you back in the building because we missed on this last week. Got the Corey filled in. We got to run it back. The world's strongest team comes from the world's strongest man himself, Mark. Mark, talk to me.
Here? Guess what? It's time for the world's strongest coach by the world's Marcus. Back then, they didn't know me. And I said I wasn't going to do it. I lied. I am going to talk about the Cowboys. I have to do it. Cowboys signed Jake Ferguson to a 4-year, $52 million extension, and people were up in arms. Why would you dedicate so much money to a guy that was already under contract for the foreseeable future, and then you extend him 4 years, which gives him now 5 years with the Cowboys at that money, and you haven't paid the guy that's the best player on your team? He is the guy that you can build an entire team around. Why wouldn't you spend that money? And I have the answer for you guys. And I tried my best not to get into it, but I just can't help myself. I felt compelled to do it. And that is the Crypt Keeper, Jerry Jones, loves drama. Yeah, that's him. That's him laughing after he signed that contract. Jerry Jones, he knows that he's going to pay Micah Parsons. But if you notice this whole offseason, all we did is talk about the Cowboys. Jerry Jones sees more value in being at the top of the stat line or the news wire because it gives attention nationally to what the Cowboys are doing. And he's going to continue to do so. When in the last 5 dominant players at the Cowboys did they not get paid? You go back to Ezekiel Elliott. You go back to Dak Prescott. You go back to Trayvon Diggs, which I wish that he would not have done that. But I digress. The guys that have come up have gotten paid. CeeDee Lamb got his money last year. And Micah Parsons is going to get his money in the next week or two.
The only guy I can think of that didn't get paid was Murray back in the days.
Yeah, well, Murray had more miles on him than a Greyhound bus, and I wouldn't have gave him the money either. And regardless of how good he was, there was also other guys that were behind Murray that were, just as good. And when I say just as good, people forget how good Barber was. Barber had moments with the Cowboys where, if you can create a Dallas Cowboy moment where you rush for 1,500 yards or something like that and, 10 touchdowns, that's a great season. That's a Pro Bowl season. and Barber was a Pro Bowl running back. So I can see myself not paying him. But to this point, the reason that the Cowboys did what they did yesterday was the tight end market is going up. And for the first time in Cowboy history, they got ahead of something. And I'm good with that. But they do need to go ahead and pay Micah Parsons, and that's going to happen in the next week or week and a half. Eric, Marcus, what say y'all?
Mark, you see me look at my phone. I want to make sure I read this quote to you directly because you're a Cowboy fan, and me not.
If it's gonna hurt my feelings, don't read it.
Well, you know what? It might not hurt your feelings, but I got to bring it to real. Okay.
Okay.
And I read this on here. So Marcus,
and this, by the way, this contract makes him the 8th highest paid tight end, not the top 3.
This is what I'll say about Jerry Jones, and I firmly believe this. All right. And I want to read the quote from Kevin Clark at ESPN.
Okay.
He said, "When I look at Jerry Jones, I think one thing. If the football gods came down and said, Jerry, you get to win the next 3 Super Bowls, but," because there's a but, the catch is, you can't do a press conference over those 3 years. He looks at the football gods and says, no deal.
No deal. He would say no deal. And I was, for this last month, I said, wow, guys, this is great. Coach Shotty, as he calls him, has come in and it's been quiet. That was the best thing that ever happened to me as a Cowboy fan. They were quiet.
And then training camp happened.
Then training camp. But right before training camp, we had one issue, and that was Turbin, being arrested. That was the only thing that happened that was kind of out of line this whole offseason, offseason cycle. And now, one weekend, Jerry Jones is talking again. And it's like the movie Friday. And he's like, man, why you didn't say something, Debo? He's like, man, I got mind control over Debo. When he leave, I can talk again. That's Jerry Jones is the mind control is off. He's talking again.
Nobody's got mind control over that Debo.
No doubt about that. This is, kind of my thing here, right? And like I said, I couldn't imagine being a Cowboy fan because it would eat me up inside, Mark.
Yeah, it does. And man, you don't even know. Like, I know you listen to the show.
Of course.
But like there have been times where I quit the Cowboys about when the season was over last year. And I was looking for a new team. I was like, man, I got to find somebody that I can cheer for that don't make me emotional. And Hardge and Marcus laughed at me. They was like, hey man, you serious? You're emotional about the thing? I said, yes. I said, I think I fell in love again. And this is one of those things that I know that we're gonna get this deal signed. I say we because it's a we. Right. Micah Parsons is going to get signed. There's no way around it. If you had a chance to sign him, that time is over. I mean, to trade him, that time is over. So you have to sign him. And he's the guy that you structure your defense. What people don't realize is the Cowboys have drafted a guy that they didn't know how good he was. They knew he was going to be good, but they didn't realize that he was this good. And now you have Micah. You allow this guy to get some reps while Micah is out. And when Micah does come back, it's going to be like a surprise that they're going to have 2 guys on each side that can pass rush at that elite level.
Mark, real quick, does any part of this concern you? Because I know you've seen the videos coming out of training camp, coming out of, I think, where they were up in Oxnard, up in California, where the guys, Micah Parsons, Trayvon Diggs, they're taking matters to their own hands, having their own press conference. And I know you've seen the videos of the fans chanting in the background, pay Micah. Does any of that concern you that at all? Or
no, not at all. Jerry knows what he's got to do.
Okay.
This is all timeline stuff. He's being very greedy with what he's doing. Now, it's different in Cincinnati. Cincinnati's cheap. They just didn't want to pay anybody.
Right.
And it was the same way in other places where guys had
big money deals coming up, Hardge said it best. Get out ahead of it. Like, go ahead and sign them like the year before, because next year the money's just going to go up. And that's what happened with Micah. Micah wanted to sign a deal that would have been $11 million less last year.
Right.
Now the market went up and he has to take the money. Otherwise, it's going to ruin it for everybody else in the league. And people are going to be like, man, why would you do that? You killed us. You shot us in the foot. So that being said, Cowboys, go ahead and pony up. They're going to have to pay the big money, and they're going to have to try to get rid of that contract that they signed with Trayvon Diggs next. So I pray for his success and for him to get healthy so he can come, show out, and then we can get something for him.
Jerry Jones, it's simple. You heard Mark Henry. Pay the man.
Pay the man.
It's
going to happen in the next 2 weeks. You need him in training camp now.
From Mark's lips to Jerry's ears, you heard it there. Pay the man. It is the morning kickoff. Sports Radio AM 1300, The Zone. Hardball, Hardge, Mark Henry, Eric Henry of 24/7 Sports sitting in for Hardge. We'll be back in a minute.
The JB and Sandy Show podcast. Stream it on the iHeartRadio app.
All lanes are closed down due to a crash on Ed Bluestein Boulevard southbound at Technique Center Drive. There's also reports of a crash affecting the exit ramp going from Highway 71 eastbound over to northbound 183, as well as some stop-and-go traffic on I-35 northbound starting from Onion Creek Parkway and going to William Cannon. I'm Jason Fossig with a look at Austin area traffic.
This report is sponsored by Rapid Radios.
Rapid Radios are instant push-to-talk walkie-talkies offering national LTE coverage and no subscription ever. Perfect for instant contact with an aging parent. For a limited time, go to rapidradios.com and you'll get an extra 60% off, free UPS shipping, and add code RADIO for an extra 5% off.
Hey there, local business owner. Ready to make some more money? Whether you own an auto shop or a dinner spot, Valpak Direct Marketing can help you do just that. All bells and whistles are included, so you advertise when and where it counts to reach new customers that spend more. Measurable results, proven reach, zero guesswork. That's Valpak. Visit valpak.com/advertise to see if you qualify for a free mailing. That's VALPAK.com/advertise. Let's grow.
The last thing anyone wants is to leave behind confusion, stress, or worse, family conflict. That's why estate planning isn't just for the wealthy. It's for families like mine, and probably like yours. With Trust and Will, I created my estate plan in minutes, from naming guardians for my kids to putting our house in a trust to avoid probate. Fast, affordable, and way easier than I thought. Every plan is designed by estate planning attorneys and customized for your state. Plans start at just $199 and include essentials like healthcare directives and power of attorney. With Trust and Will's bank-level security and built-in privacy protections, your personal information and your wishes stay safe. Whether you're newly married, raising kids, caring for aging parents, or just want peace of mind, Trust and Will makes it easy to protect what matters most. Go to trustandwill.com, use code RADIO at checkout, and save 20% on your personalized plan. Because there's no better time to protect the people you love. Trust and Will is an online estate planning service. See website for details.
At Fisher Investments, we may seem like other money managers, but we're different.
What makes you so different than the rest of us?
We ensure clients receive unparalleled service at every step of the relationship.
Tell me more.
Our investment counselors focus on service over sales, prioritizing clients' needs.
How do you make money?
We don't sell any commission-based products. We have a simple management fee based on the value of our client's portfolio. So we do better when our clients do better.
What about client portfolios?
We get to know each client, their finances, family, health, lifestyle, and more, and then we tailor a portfolio based on their specific goals and needs.
Your clients really come first then, huh?
Yes, we make them a top priority. Our goal is helping them achieve a comfortable retirement.
Wow, maybe we are different.
At Fisher Investments, we're clearly different. Learn more at FisherInvestments.com.
Investing in securities involves the risk of loss.
From the ABA Heating and Cooling Weather Center, this is Zone Weather.
Your Austin weather, partly cloudy skies for your Monday, a high in the mid-90s. Tonight, clear skies, a low of 72. Tuesday, sunshine, a high of 98.
This report is sponsored by Staples.
Bobby Bones here with some easy trivia. What does the Staples easy button say? That was easy. Oh, I mean, that was easy. You knew that, right? And now you know to press it for prints, shipping, and even passport photos. Plus, next day delivery to over 98% of the U.S. I see you, Staples. That was easy.
The countdown to the NFL season is on while the pads are popping in camp. Get ready for the new season with iHeart, the official partner of the NFL Podcast Network.
Jim Harbaugh, how you feeling?
Oh, so excited. It's the start of the year.
Shows like NFL Daily with Greg Rosenthal.
We are going to go through the best position battles of the 2025 training camp.
Breakouts, holdouts, and fantasy sleepers. Be the first to know. Search NFL and find your next preset now.
The free iHeartRadio app has over 100 commercial-free original stations waiting for you to explore right now, like Cross Country. Cross Country is the sound of Americana blending country, rock, and America's greatest songwriters. Bob Dylan and Bonnie Raitt to Chris Stapleton and Zach Bryan. Open the free iHeartRadio app, search Cross Country, and listen now. Free never sounded so good.
Coach Sark here. 1300 The Zone is your flagship home for the Texas Longhorns.
Sports Radio AM 1300 The Zone, morning kickoff. World's strongest man, Mark
That's
Henry.
right.
Eric Henry sitting in for Hardball
Tempo.
Hardge. Yes, sir. And we have a special guest keeping it in the 24/7 Sports family. He is Jordan D. Hill of Dogs 247. Want to have Jordan on. And Jordan, good morning. I appreciate you making time here. And I know I think I may have screwed up the times. I told you 8:34 Eastern, which I know it is 9:34 Eastern here as we're in the Central Time Zone. But Jordan, appreciate you making the time. One of the reasons I want to have you on is because the Texas Longhorns lost to the Georgia Bulldogs twice last year, and it feels inevitable. You know, we've been talking Texas all
Why
week.
you keep bringing up old stuff?
I'm bringing up old stuff, Mark,
Man.
because it feels inevitable, Jordan, that the Longhorns will have to go through Georgia at some point this season past their regular season meeting. Jordan, just start us there. Let's get your thoughts on, do you see it the same way I do, that inevitably Texas and Georgia will have to meet to get, whether it's from Atlanta to the SEC title game or maybe even a college football playoff game?
Yeah, I mean, to me, looking at the SEC this year, just my read of it, I think there's three teams. I think it's Texas, I think it's Georgia, and I think it's Alabama. And, you know, I was honestly a little surprised that Georgia was picked at media days to play Texas in the SEC title game. I thought there'd be a lot of questions about Gunnar Stockton and that people would be a little bit more hesitant to maybe say Georgia's got what it takes to be back in that title game. But no, I think it makes for a fascinating setup when you look to that game in November. I mean, the fact that Georgia won both meetings last year, but you've got all the different storylines from what both teams lost this offseason. Obviously, Arch Manning, I don't know how much he's talked about this. I think Georgia was probably the team that finished runner-up to Texas in that recruitment. So you got him coming back to Athens. You know, the matchups there. I think it is fair to look at both of these teams as the leading contenders for the SEC. And, you know, you look at especially that SEC title game, just how competitive it was and, you know, how small the margin for error for both teams were in that game. I think you look at understanding that both teams lost quite a bit from those teams last year, that these two teams, I think, no matter who wins a regular season game and if they meet again in the SEC title game, I think both have an excellent chance to make the playoff this year. And like you mentioned, maybe we get another meeting. I think that these two teams are primed to make a lot of noise this year.
Jordan, what's up, man? It's Mark Henry. I got to ask you this question, and I know it's going to be a sensitive topic to Georgia fan base. What's the temperature like with Texas getting two guys that were really, really highly recruited players from the state of Georgia, and now they're coming to the University of Texas?
I mean, I think it's a situation. I don't know if it's one that we might have predicted in the last few years, but there's been some really entertaining Georgia-Texas recruiting battles. I mean, if you look at Georgia's biggest foes on the road right now in recruiting, I think you'd be hard-pressed to say there's another team that is ahead of Texas. I mean, there have been some absolute knockdown dragouts. SEC Media Days was a really entertaining one just from the standpoint of Tyler Atkinson picks Texas. That's a homegrown kid from probably 45 minutes, about an hour away from Athens, that picks Texas. And then, James Johnson flips his commitment from Georgia. He'd only been committed to Georgia for a couple of weeks, flipped it to Texas. But, I think that Georgia obviously wanted those guys, but there's been some pretty impressive recruiting wins over Texas the last few years. The big one to me is Justin Williams, a guy from Oak Ridge, that Conroe, Texas, that I think has a chance to really break out in 2025. A guy that's at an inside linebacker position. I don't know if there's a deeper inside linebacker room in the country than what Georgia has. So, Georgia fans, I would definitely say Texas is not their favorite. I'm sure that when the Longhorns come to Athens, when they take the field, they'll realize that. It won't take them long to recognize that. But, no, I mean, I think that's sort of the name of the game right now in recruiting. You've got these top teams, and some teams are going to win out for certain guys, and then others will get the edge in other battles. But, there's no doubt that Texas and Georgia, they've been going at it throughout this recruiting cycle, and I don't expect that to change over the coming weeks and coming months either.
Texas has a long laundry list of rivals: the Oklahoma Sooners, the Texas A&M Aggies, the Arkansas Razorbacks.
That's not bad.
And now it looks like with Texas coming to the SEC, Georgia's going to be that SEC rival.
Yeah, I mean, what I think really helps when you consider, Texas fitting in to the SEC is that those games have been entertaining. I know Texas fans didn't really like the way the first two meetings with Georgia went, but I mean, the key to getting a good rivalry going is just playing really entertaining games. I think about early when Missouri got into the SEC, being in the SEC East at the time. Missouri and Georgia played a couple of really outstanding games early in Missouri's run, and it helped too that Missouri, was very competitive when they came into the SEC, just as Texas has been in their first season. So I enjoy it just from the standpoint of you got two teams that, again, would any of the three of us be surprised if either of these two teams win the national title this year? I don't think so. But to have them matching up in the regular season, and for it to be set up where, whoever loses that game, if they take care of business elsewhere, they'll still have a path to the playoff at least, and probably still have a really good shot at going to Atlanta. To me, that's all the right ingredients to build a nice little rivalry. And, Georgia, it's interesting when you talk to Georgia fans. It's kind of where they are in the state, who they'll tell you their biggest rival is. Florida is probably the most popular answer, but, you've got South Carolina and Auburn, Tennessee for North Georgia fans. But, I think when in really the last 5 or 6 years, probably the last 10 years, Alabama has been a big one. And it's a lot like this Texas conversation we're having. Georgia and Alabama have played in some all-time classic games. And a lot of the times when those two teams played, there's been a lot on the line.
Jordan, really quick, we've got 2 minutes left. I want to sneak this question in here for you. Where did you think, and cheap plug here, we do a 24/7 sports media poll, so cheap plug for that. But really quick, you're up against the break here. Where did you think Texas would fall in line in the SEC this year? If you could let the folks know that, just out of curiosity.
Yeah, I actually have Texas fourth, and it's really more of a product of I try to not go with the conventional picks. I think that, saying it's going to be Georgia, Texas in the SEC title game for the second straight year. Yeah. How many times have we seen back-to-back matchups in this conference title game? So I've kind of been a little bearish on Texas. I think just the questions, more so on the offensive line and what they lost there. I've got questions on what that'll look like. So I had Georgia winning the SEC. I have them beating Alabama in the SEC title game. I have LSU as sort of my surprise. I think, LSU brings back their leading passer, their leading rusher, their leading receiver, their leading tackler from last year. One of only 2 SEC teams to do that. I've got LSU sneaking in, and, I still have Texas making the playoff. I think I have them at like 9-3, 10-2. I think Texas fans would probably be disappointed to have that, but you make it through the gauntlet that they play, and if they're healthy going in the playoff, they can still make some noise there.
He is Jordan D. Hill of Dogs 247. Jordan, appreciate you making the time. We will talk soon when that matchup rolls around. Jordan, appreciate it. Thank you, buddy.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Morning Kickoff, Sports Radio, AM 1300, The Zone. Mark Henry, world's strongest man. Eric Henry, pinch hitting for Mike Hardball Hardge. We will be back in a moment.
I see what you did.
The Craig Way Show, weekdays at 2.
From the Odoo.com Traffic Center, Odoo.com, the only business software you will need.
All lanes are closed down due to a crash on Ed Bluestein Boulevard southbound at Technique Center Drive. There's also reports of a crash affecting the exit ramp going from Highway 71 eastbound over to northbound 183, as well as some stop-and-go traffic on I-35 northbound starting from Onion Creek Parkway and going to William Cannon. I'm Jason Fossig with a look at Austin area traffic.
This report is sponsored by Rapid Radios.
Rapid Radios are instant push-to-talk walkie-talkies offering national LTE coverage and no subscription ever. A great alternative to a mobile phone for your kids. For a limited time, go to rapidradios.com and you'll get 60% off, free UPS shipping. Add code radio and get an extra 5% off.
Do Crohn's disease or ulcerative colitis symptoms keep coming back? Tremfya, guselkumab, may help, with rapid remission achieved at 12 weeks and lasting clinical remission at 1 year. Some even saw visible improvement of their intestinal lining at 12 weeks and 1 year. Tremfya is a prescription medicine used to treat adults with moderately to severely active Crohn's disease and adults with moderately to severely active ulcerative colitis. Serious allergic reactions and increased risk of infections and liver problems may occur. Before treatment, your doctor should check you for infections and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor if you have an infection, flu-like symptoms, or if you need a vaccine. Healing is possible with Tremfya. Approximately 3 out of 10 patients were in endoscopic remission at 1 year, based on areas visualized on colonoscopy, which may not represent the deeper bowel layer or entire GI tract. Individual results may vary. Ask your doctor about Tremfya today. Call 1-800-526-7736 to learn more or visit tremfyaradio.com.
Lowe's knows big savings make a big difference, especially when you're shopping for appliances. Hurry in to get up to 30% off select major appliances. Plus, My Lowe's Rewards members get free delivery, free haul away, free installation and parts on purchases of $2,500 or more. Lowe's, we help, you save. Valid through 7/30. Selection varies by location. While supplies last. Price, delivery time, and vehicle availability may vary based on order size and location. Exclusions apply. See Lowes.com/delivery for more details.
Shop simple. It doesn't get any easier. You're looking for a new Ford. You don't have time to spend hours at the dealership. So Riata Ford in Manor has made it simple. Pick yours at riataford.com. We can bring it to you for a home test drive. Once you determine it's perfect, you can arrange financing, value your trade, and sign all your paperwork digitally. Then simply tell us where and when you want to take delivery. Leif Johnson's Riata Ford in Manor has made buying a new Ford simple.
Hi, Zoe Saldana. Welcome to T-Mobile. Here's your new iPhone 16 Pro on us.
Thanks. And here's my old phone to trade in.
You don't need a trade-in. When you switch to T-Mobile, we'll give you a new iPhone 16 Pro. Plus, we'll help you pay off your old phone up to $800, and you still get to keep it.
There's always a trade-in.
Not right now at T-Mobile.
I feel like I have to give you something in return for karma.
That's okay.
I don't really have much in my purse. Oh, let's see. Hand sanitizer. It's lavender.
I'm good. Seriously.
Let me check this pocket. Oh, mints?
Really, I'm fine.
Oh, I have raisins. I'm a mom. Wait 1 sec. I've got cupcakes in the car.
It's our best iPhone offer ever. Switch to T-Mobile. Get a new iPhone 16 Pro with Apple Intelligence on us. No trade-in needed. We'll even pay off your phone up to $800.
With 24 monthly bill credits, new line $100 plus a month on experience beyond finance agreement $999.99 and qualifying Ford. For Offer well qualified plus tax and $10 connection charge. Payout via virtual prepaid card. Allow 15 days. Credits end and balance due if you pay off early or cancel. See T-Mobile.com.
The Girlfriends is back with a new season, and this time I'm telling you the story of Kelly Harnett. Kelly spent over a decade in prison for a murder she says she didn't commit. As she fought for her freedom, she taught herself the law.
He goes, oh God, Harnett, jailhouse lawyer.
And became a beacon of hope for the women locked up alongside her.
I think I was put here to save souls by getting people out of prison.
Open your free iHeartRadio app, search The Girlfriends Jailhouse Lawyer, and listen now.
Hey there. You hear that? Right, you don't. That's what it's like to order food for your workplace with Easy Cater. No hold music while you wait to place your order. No tapping as you type in special dietary instructions or long, complicated searches for options in your budget. No crinkling of paper receipts. Just...
Dang, these are some tasty sandwiches.
Easy Cater, the better way to order food for work. Order now at easycater.com.
Sports Radio 1300 The Zone, your home for the Horns.
AM 1300 The Zone, morning kickoff. World's strongest man, Mark Henry, Eric Henry, hitting the Mike Hardball. You can't help but be happy, right? It's like don't worry. One of those kind of feelings. I don't care if it's Monday, midweek,
if you have a frown, you have bigger problems than I can help you with. You know, this song makes you happy.
Who doesn't have any problems right now on this Longhorn Monday? That would be the Texas Longhorns. I think as they return to camp, they will hit the practice field. I'm excited, no doubt about it. Me too.
I'm ready. I'm ready, Mark. To get back to work.
What time do you go out today?
Today they're not out today. Our first availability tomorrow will be with coordinators, and Wednesday we will be out there at 2:45.
2:45.
Getting that Texas heat in. Get the body ready for that, right?
Man, I don't envy you. It's hot.
I'm gonna tell a story real quick before we close up the show. What defines a good season for Texas football, and that's a perfect way to close the show because we had Jordan Hill on. He was talking about his projection for the Horns, and we were talking a little bit during the break about that. But let me tell a quick story, Mark. So last year, the first fall practice, Steve Sarkisian had us out there for about 55 minutes. Which, listen, I'll never complain. I'll always take more time watching practice, right? You know, I do it. But Mark, I made the mistake of Marcus. I made the mistake of wearing J's, right? I wore my white J's. And I cannot prove this scientifically as fact, but this is what I think happened. The practice fields at Frank Denius, I believe, are like the not AstroTurf, but the field turf, right?
Right.
The rubber pellets. And it was hot as all, you know what?
Yeah.
I firmly believe, I can't prove it, but I believe some of those pellets melted onto my J's. And to where they're just there. I thought it was
now
dirt.
They're permanent.
I thought it was dirt, and I was trying to get it off. And I'm like, wait, this feels like rubber on there. I can't prove that, but that's my theory, Mark.
Wow. So you're gonna
now
send Coach Sark a bill?
and now you have the limited edition Texas Jays.
Texas practice field
Texas
Jays.
practice Jays.
Mark, let me ask you this, man. What defines a good season for Texas? Because I'll be quick. This is my belief. I think Texas will play for a national title this year.
Yeah.
And I do believe that the floor for Texas is they need to at least reach a national semifinal like they have the last 2 years. But for you, what defines a good season?
I think a good season is different than what Texas is going to have.
Okay.
I think Texas is going to have a great season. A good season is winning 10 games, getting to the conference championship, and avenging the loss for Georgia twice. That's a good season. And then going to the playoff, but maybe not as a top four, that's a good season. A great season in which I really feel like Texas is going to have is them winning at least 11 games and going to the championship and winning the national championship. And that's a great season because I think with that, Arch probably wins the Heisman, and you have a chance at having a Heisman quarterback come back. And everybody keeps saying, Mark, if he wins the national championship and he wins the Heisman in the same year, he's going to have to go to the NFL. I don't think he will.
Mark, it's funny you say that, because look at it this way, okay? From a financial perspective, there's no real reason for Arch Manning to rush out there. That's step one.
There's no reason to rush.
Step two, if we take a look at the Manning family history, okay? They clearly wanted Eli Manning to go to New York. I think the only scenario which Arch Manning leaves this year is if he's clear-cut the number one pick and it's a home that the Manning family deems, okay, this is a good setup for Arch Manning.
And they're going to talk to the general managers and the owner of the team and say, are you going to draft him or not?
Simple as that.
And then they're going to say, well, if he comes out, we're going to draft him number one overall. And then he'll say, okay, Arch, you can go.
No disrespect.
Don't be a turd.
I think
that's the funniest thing that I ever heard Peyton say to Arch. He's like, hey, man, I just want you to, represent the family, be respectful, and don't be a turd.
Mark, my thing is this, man. And this is why when Texas fans ask me, is Arch coming back? You see it 1 year. Mark, would you rather go be in Cleveland, in Chicago, in Jacksonville, franchises that have histories of not developing quarterbacks? Or I can come back to Austin for another year, work with a guy in Steve Sarkisian who has a history of developing quarterbacks. That seems pretty simple to me, does it not, Mark?
It sounds great. And what about, like, Aaron Rodgers said that he's not gonna come back. What if Pittsburgh, in a perfect world, everything happens, and then Pittsburgh, I mean, they get the first pick, or they move up to get the first pick.
Right.
If and they say, look, we're putting all our eggs in one basket. We're giving away 2 first-round draft picks, and we're giving away this, that, and the other, and the kitchen sink. We want the first pick, so because we want Arch.
Those are the type of circumstances. Go ahead, Mark. I'm sorry.
You got to do that. Like that. That's one you got to, because you pay them.
Right. Sure. Yeah. If you can get into a stable, like a stable franchise, like a Pittsburgh, I would even use. How about this? An LA Rams, for example, right? You get with Sean McVay out there, right? Yep. You get a big market, a franchise that, since they've left St. Louis, they've been operated fairly well. They've got stable situation with the head coach. That'd be great.
I think even the Jets. I mean, as much as you went ahead and got a quarterback, but the Giants, they didn't do much.
Right.
Well, realistically,
and Peyton and Eli both would love for Arch to be in a market like New York. If you were in New York, now that's when you make a concession too. If you have the opportunity to play, you talk about money, the money that Peyton and Eli made would be pale in comparison to what Arch can make in New York.
Realistically, if the Rams or the Steelers are that bad that they have the number one pick, I don't think that coaching staff will be still there.
Well, I think
no, that's fine, because the whole point of this is we know for a fact right now, being that we were going to talk about it tomorrow when we talk more NFL.
That's called a preview.
That's a preview for tomorrow. We were very Longhorn centric today because it's Longhorn Monday, but tomorrow, guys, it'll be back to business as usual. We will get more into what happened on the Major League Baseball front. We'll get back into the NFL, and we'll have a good time doing it.
You heard it from the man himself, world's strongest man, Mark Henry, Eric Henry, filling in for Hardball Hardge, Sports Radio AM 1300, The Zone. Happy Monday, y'all. We'll be back to do it again tomorrow.
And remember, everything you see. How's it go?
Mark, we practiced,
and I still messed it up. Remember,
don't believe everything you see, because
even salt looks like sugar.
There we go.
Peace. There you go.
Texas weather can be wild. Protect your home with residential metal roofing from Mueller Inc. Strong, stylish, and designed to last, our metal roofs handle wind, hail, and heat with minimal maintenance. With a range of colors and styles, you'll get lasting beauty and proven durability, all backed by paint warranties up to 45 years. Visit with one of our sales representatives today at any of our locations across Texas, including Marble Falls and Spicewood.